Our first mailbag question from Brian Anderson. Trade Biadasz for Roby. I'm not sure who the Roby is. Is that Bradley Roby? So I say pass on that one. Or Lael Collins, the Jets for Quinnen Williams, or Collins, the Panthers for a corner. I like how your brain's churning there with trading away Lael for a defensive piece. Jets say no to the Collins for Quinnen trade, but I like it. I would say no for the Panthers trade. What corner am I getting? All their corners they either just traded for and or are hurt. J.C. Horn's out. Henderson's not good yet. And Gilmore is also still hurt. From Lone, my friend, nice try, wanted to know if Justin Jefferson is better than CeeDee Lamb. I think they're both great. Both players, I think both teams are eminently happy with. As a Cowboys fan, I would rather have CeeDee Lamb. Ask a Vikings fan, they'd probably rather have Justin Jefferson. Ask an Eagles fan, and they're in shambles. All right, let's go to Leo now. Diggs had more INTs in 2 years than Byron Jones his whole career. These are facts. Trevon Diggs' playmaking ability has been absolutely incredible, and the Cowboys are very lucky the NFL let him fall all the way down to round 2. For my burner account, can y'all make a Cowboys legend Ring of Honor? I think we can make that happen. Maybe I'll do it one day on the community side of it. I know that Alex Tanney is that first name up there, the Mount Rushmore, if you will. It's a good question. So sticker, maybe we'll do it in the offseason. That could be a good off-season segment here, my friend. From Lame Guy. Wow, look at that profile picture, too. What a time to be alive. Would you consider trading Blake Jarwin right now? I get what I think you're kind of aiming at here in terms of the Cowboys going out and trading Jarwin to get some defensive help. But I think my answer is no. The Cowboys have used a lot of 2 tight end personnel this year, a lot more than what they did previously. And I think in the offseason, we could probably have that Blake Jarwin trade or release conversation because, maybe you don't want to lose Dalton Schultz with as good as he's playing right now. Now, Jarwin, a trade, could, I guess, technically make you sellers at the deadline? So get your votes in on this question right now. What will Dallas be at this year's NFL trade deadline? Type B for buyers, S for they're going to be sellers, or you can type in N for they're going to be nothing. They're not going to be involved. They're not going to do anything this year. I lean towards N for nothing, but this is the pinned comment on today's video. Take the ad break here on YouTube, scroll on down, and let me know. From Richard Rivera, need to play Parsons more on the pass rush. Parsons, this is a double-edged sword. It's a good question. I'm glad that it came up today. Playing Parsons at edge is a double-edged sword. He is definitely more impactful visibly by playing edge because edge is a more important position than off-ball linebacker. And I think Parsons is your second best edge right now or third best or whatever. But at off-ball linebacker, there's been a trend I've noticed. The big plays up the middle often come when Parsons isn't in there. When he's at edge, they get beat up the middle on those runs. You saw it against the Patriots, for example. So you're trying to do a little bit of both right now, and sometimes you get burned both ways. I think in more obvious passing downs, yes, please get Parsons lined up at edge. And even though I think he beat some bad tackles at points, he's still a pretty good pass rusher. So my answer is yes, but it's not a full-fledged black and white one. From James Logan, Honey Badger for Lael Collins. I think the Chiefs say no, but I mean, you could call. Now, I am old enough to remember when Tyrann Mathieu wasn't a scheme fit for Dallas. That was just the Cowboys being lazy in the offseason and or wrong. I think Chiefs say no because their issue is Mahomes takes very deep drops and that gets him into trouble, but I think KC says no because they need defensive help pretty badly too. From John Michael Crouch, who do you think will make the Pro Bowl this year for Dallas? Go Cowboys. Trick question, none of them because they're not going to be able to play in it. Hint, hint. But I kid. I think CeeDee Lamb will be in that conversation. In all seriousness, maybe Dalton Schultz. He's been awesome. Zach Martin, Tyron Smith. I got to look around the NFL at guards. Guards are pretty rough. So probably not anyone else on the offensive line. Zeke will be in that conversation. Micah Parsons will be in that conversation. Obviously, Trevon Diggs, and maybe one of those interior D linemen break out the second half of the season. Now, we will be here beyond just the second half of the season, but every single day. So if you want free videos right here on the Cowboys Report, check that link at the bottom of your screen, youtube.com/CowboysTV. Or if you're watching on YouTube, simply subscribe right now. From a Tobo Goblin, if the Cowboys win the Super Bowl this year, you got to get a tattoo on your forehead. Absolutely not. With that said, yes, I hope the Cowboys win the Super Bowl this year. From Daniel Moriarty, if the Cowboys go after Quinnen, would a first and a third get the trade done? That's probably what I would offer. The Jets, I think, would say no. And the reasoning there is that their front office has to build a contender in probably 2 years, somewhere in that time frame, maybe 3 if they're lucky. And Quinnen Williams is like the one good defensive piece that's proven at a higher level, locked in for multiple years. No disrespect to John Franklin Myers. So if I'm the Jets, Quinnen's basically untouchable for me, but maybe they're dumb. Only way to find out is to ask. From Andres Gonzalez, would you go after Marcus Mariota next season? If you want. He can't stay healthy. Every hit he takes, he gets hurt. Like it's crazy how often Mariota takes a hit and is now injured. So, sure, you can call him in the offseason if he's cheap, but he's fine. Unfortunately, he is not the guy I thought he was going to be coming out of Oregon. From X2 Pro Skills, where would you rank the defense this year? So in the past, I have always been, even this year, I've been like, hey, let's pump the brakes. Let's not get overly excited. Let's be realistic here in terms of they're probably not going to be top 10 defense right now. I like to use DVOA. It's a nerd formula that indicates how good you are based on level of competition. It factors in all that good stuff there. Dallas is 10. The Dallas Cowboys defense so far this year, and I cannot believe I'm saying this, they've been a top 10 defense at this point. So that's where I would put them at. Now, if you want to fade me sometimes, like I was wrong on the defense, thank goodness. I just have my expectations lower, but I'm happy about it. Do it with BetUS. You can get a 125% deposit bonus when you go over to chatsports.com/bet and use the promo code you see right there, Cowboys125. You can bet on this week's Cowboys game. Dallas on the road, as we sit here filming this, a 3-point favorite. This line, the spread and the over-under, has been moving pretty frequently. So keep that in mind. It'll ebb and flow, but if you want to lock it in right now, do it with BetUS. 125% deposit bonus at chatsports.com/bet when you utilize the promo code you see on screen. That is Cowboys125. Raven Ruiz, will Dak become a Hall of Famer? Okay, that's getting too far ahead of it right now. We have a very, very long way to go before I think we really have that conversation. Let's see him win a Super Bowl first. From Joey, anyone small who isn't playing much we can maybe get a 6th or a 7th rounder for? I mean, maybe you could shop somebody like a Dorrance Armstrong that we mentioned on a previous mailbag. You can look around for those guys, but there's this part too. You want depth when you're a contender. That 6th or 7th round pick doesn't really mean all that much for you in the long run. Ooh, from Tom Brady. Patriots aren't paying J.C. Jackson. Would that be a good trade? I think Jackson got a bit overhyped last year. I don't think he's as good as he was hyped up to be last season. I think he's probably better than Anthony Brown, though. The Patriots could get a damn good comp pick for him. They haven't paid him yet. Remember, they let go of Stephon Gilmore. So they might end up paying J.C. Jackson or franchise tagging him. So I would say Jackson's probably more of a maybe free agent option, more so than a trade target right now. From Nate Newton, would you trade away Anthony Brown or Jordan Lewis for a big, or I think you mean for, not or a big corner, because you're not trading Trevon Diggs. I think that if you could get a premier player would actually make sense. It would free up the roster issue that you're facing, even with guys on IR, Joseph back soon. If you could get a premier corner, and the difference was, hey, we've agreed to the terms, but the difference is we want Anthony Brown too, you do it. Or Jordan Lewis. You play the other guy at nickel then in the end. So that is the route I would go, that those two guys who have been a bit better than I think more often than not given credit for, that's the type of player that I would be okay trading with if it got me an upgrade. I don't know how realistic, though, that ends up being. Speaking of trades, the deadline, almost here. So name a player who you want the Dallas Cowboys to trade for. Keep it semi-realistic, please. I beg you. You're not getting Aaron Donald. But drop a name for me in the comments section. Is Anthony Brown the most underappreciated Cowboy? Let's get to the super chat that he had as well, because this all kind of ties in together here. I think Anthony Brown is a good name for the most underappreciated Cowboys player on defense. I think that's your super chat. I think Anthony Brown's probably the right name there. If you wanted to go for a different name, insert safety, but I think AB's the one. Offensively, it's very clearly for a vocal minority, Connor Williams. Guys, I'm telling you, look around the NFL. Guard play is not nearly what you think it is. He is a good starter. Not saying I want to pay him starter money, but he's an underappreciated Cowboy player for you right now. Andres Gonzalez, would you trade for Micah Hyde, Fletcher Cox, Derwin James, Jonathan Abram. Abram's been better this year, but James, Abram, and Hyde all play for legitimate playoff contenders. Those teams are not going to be sellers. Fletcher Cox, meanwhile, I would love to call him. I call Philadelphia, go, hey, what's the asking price? The difference there is I'm pretty sure there's going to be an NFC East trade premium if you were to go get Cox. I don't think the Eagles would help Dallas try to win a Super Bowl unless the Cowboys were wildly overpaying in any deal. Super chat now from Alan. Oh, I got to drink a lot of beer here. Hold on. Cheers. Do you see Dallas sweeping the division since the other three NFC East teams suck? LOL. They are going to be favored in every single game unless at the end of the year the Cowboys have nothing to play for. So I think it's a very real outcome, but let's see if the Cowboys are sitting key players late in the season before we make that call. Now, will the Cowboys win a playoff game? And I'm going to throw in this caveat, by the way, as your votes come in, 1 for yes, 0 for no. Getting the bye counts as a playoff win. It absolutely should count. Yes, it does. Because you were so good in the regular season, you didn't have to play a bad football team in the first playoff game. It should absolutely count because that's how good you were, as opposed to being the number 2 seed and getting to play a bad 7 seed that has maybe 9 or 10 wins. You would have won that game if you weren't already so good. So I say it counts. So with that in mind, 1 for yes, 0 for no. Hat trick 1, 2, 3. Sad we didn't re-sign Awuzie, who, by the way, has been actually pretty good for the Bengals, which I know some of you don't like. You were never going to bring him back for the cost he was going to command. So I don't know if sad's the right word, resigned to it, but I know a lot of you guys didn't want to bring back Awuzie. I'm not heartbroken about it. What I'm concerned about is if Kelvin Joseph can be that guy moving forward. It's Hobo Goblin. Thoughts on possibly playing Rodgers and Brady in the playoffs? You can throw in Kyler Murray there too. That's what happens in the postseason. You normally have to face really good football teams. That's why it's so tough to actually win playoff games. Super chat from Eric Freeman came in just before the buzzer. Would it be a mistake to trade Michael Gallup? I think it is impossible to answer this question without knowing what you get back. If you get a really good defensive player, then it is at minimum justifiable. I understand it. If you're moving away Gallup just for a draft pick, when you very clearly are a legit contender, that would be a mistake. Yes, you might lose Gallup in the offseason, but remember, you get him for the rest of the year, and you'll get a comp pick most likely as a result of losing him. That would be probably pretty similar to whatever you would have got via trade. So because of that, if it's for a premium player that helps you win, no. If it's only for a draft pick, I would say yes.